Hello guys and welcome to my build update number 1 for the Airfix 148 scale Albion 3-point fueler, kit number A03312. This is one of my builds that's going into a diorama for the D-Day 75th anniversary buddy build that I'm hosting both on here and YouTube. So let's get on with the build. As always, we give the sprues a ceremonious bathing, let them air dry. I then went on to page 3 of the instructions, assembly instructions, cut all the parts off the sprues, cleaned the gates off, cleaned any witness lines off, then started gluing those sub-assemblies together. That's the engine, the transmission housing, and the chassis with the leaf springs in place. I then moved on to pages 4 and 5 of the instruction booklet, cut all the pieces off the sprues that were indicated on those pages, again cleaned them up, and then built the sub-assemblies together. Put them onto cocktail sticks, make them ready for cleaning and priming. Then moved on to pages 6 and 7. Again, cut all the parts indicated on those pages off the sprues, trimmed gates, cleaned parting line witness marks off. Then did the sub-assemblies and masked the windows on the windscreen and the doors. I then moved on to page 8 and 9. Again, cut all those parts off from the sprues, cleaned them up, made those ready, built up the sub-assemblies and put the other parts onto cocktail sticks. Then moved on to the final pages 10 and 11. Cut those parts out, put the hoses and the swing arms for the hoses onto cocktail sticks, numbered those so I don't get them mixed up. Then cleaned everything with isopropyl alcohol and then airbrushed a black Stynel Res primer onto them. And that's the chassis there, primed, ready to go. After that, using a Model Masters flat earth thinned with some Model Masters acrylic thinner, I airbrushed that flat earth onto all those parts. And that's the chassis, top side, and that's the chassis underside. Then after that, it was on to detail painting. So I started with the cab, detail painted the back side of the cab with the seating, and then the front side with the windscreen, steering wheel, and the console. That's just temporarily located there to give an idea what it's going to look like. And then moved on to detailing the internal parts for the pump housing on the rear of this truck, and then detail painted the parts on the chassis, followed by the engine and the transmission housing. After that, I moved on to the footboards, detailed those along with the radiator housing and the front grille, and then the hoses and the exhaust pipe. And then I painted the tyres to finish those. I then dry fitted everything just to get an idea what it's going to look like. Nothing's glued together there, it's just all sitting in place. And after that, I gloss clear coated everything that I just detail painted to seal those. Let that dry overnight, then mixed a dark dirt oil wash with black oil paint and odorless mineral spirits. And then applied that liberally over all those internal parts and faces and the wheels, engine, transmission housing, radiator, etc. And then rubbed it off and left some on to give it a nice appearance. And then mixed some of the white oil paint with that black to make a grey wash. Applied that to give some panel fade in. Then did some chipping with some steel and aluminium. And there the parts with some of the fading and the chipping already applied. It's not showing up very well because you've still got the gloss clear coat on there. You can see the chipping on there obviously. I wanted the pump housing area looking a little dirty. There's a lot of fuel being pumped from that area. And there you can see I've applied mud onto the 4 main wheels. The spare wheel left clean, and applied some dirt staining onto the footboards. After that was all done, I was happy. I then applied Galleria matte varnish, brushed that on to finish those parts and the interior surfaces. So after that was done, it was on to taking the cocktail sticks off the exterior faces, clean those exterior faces up, and then move on to priming those, again with black Stynel Res primer. After that dried, using the flat earth again, thinned with Model Masters acrylic thinner, I airbrushed the exterior surfaces with that. I then moved on to assembly. Before I did, I just wanted to take a few pictures of the cab. Now it's got the final matte finish on it. I then moved on to the pump housing, started assembling the top and bottom orbs onto the sidewalls there. I then assembled the front windscreen part onto the rear cab, removed the masking tape off the inside of the windscreen, then glued in place the driver's side door panel, and then glued the pump housing onto the tank, fuel tank there, and then painted the green camouflage on using a brush. I then moved on to gluing the passenger side panel onto the cab. Then I detail painted with a green camouflage the chassis. That's the top side. You've just seen both front and back end, and that's the underside of the chassis. After that was done, I then glued in the engine and transmission housing. Then glued the roof onto the cab, followed by temporarily locating the passenger side door because I want to leave that open at final assembly. I then glued the fuel tank filler hose in place, and then brush painted the green camouflage pattern onto the cab. And there you can see I've glued in the exhaust pipe, and then I finished off painting the camouflage on all the other exterior parts, laid everything out so you can see what it's all looking like. And that's it, that's everything I've done for this update. But before we go, I dry fitted all those parts, just located them to see what it will look like. And there you go. Things are all located except for the fuel pipe hoses onto those swing arms. They're not located obviously, but you can get an idea what it's going to look like. So that's it. I'm pleased with what I've got so far, and that's it for this update, guys. Thanks for following along. Much appreciated, and thanks for leaving any comments. In the next update, we're going to seal this all in with a gloss clear coat, apply the decals, seal those in, and then apply all the weathering, and then move on to final assembly prior to final reveal. So until then, guys, thanks for watching. Talio, chocks away.